Los Cabos Drumsticks present
Quarter Notes.
Alfredo Hernandez.
Alfredo Hernandez. Yeah, he was the original Queen's drummer. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so for additional music, so Dave Grohl drums on all tracks except for 1 and 8, which would be Millionaire and, what did I just say?
Go with the flow.
Go with the Flow. Yeah. That was played by Gene Trotman. Yeah.
Cool. And then Alfredo Hernandez was joined. And then, okay. And then we went full Trotman.
Yeah,
And then we
Hernandez
went-
played, and then Trotman and then Dave Grohl.
And then Dave Grohl. And then
Castillo.
Joey Castillo.
Mhm.
And now John Theodore.
Yes. And that is the drumming lineage.
Of Queens of Stone Age.
Oh,
And interesting that we bring this up. Because
Mm-hmm.
today
Yeah.
on Los Cabos Presents Quarter Notes, the podcast, we, myself, Rich Knox, Dre
And-
Pino,
That's me.
are going to talk about drummers who have come into a band and, change the sound.
Yeah.
Or recorded, change the sound of the band.
Yeah. For better or worse. Usually better. In Queens of
Usually-
the Stone Age, is both better and worse.
Yeah,
I
we know
wanna
we know where you stand.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wearing
Team Joey.
Team Joey, Zach Sabbath. Yeah, no, but I mean, Queens is everybody that's played drums with Queens is just unreal.
Oh yeah.
I guess we should preface this whole episode with we're recording this right after or a day or two after Foo Fighters camp made the announcement on their, I can't really say it's a live stream because it was clearly pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Making the announcement that Josh Freese is at least their touring drummer for now, and then kind of see where it goes.
Nice.
From
I made a lot of
there.
money. I made a lot of money off calling that.
You would have made money off of me because we both know I had somebody else. Well, I mean, I figured it was Josh, but I kind of had somebody else pegged for that seat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
But I'm happy with Josh, especially after watching that special, because man,
Oh yeah.
whew,
So good. So
Yeah.
good. I think I don't know if I was telling you or someone else, but like completely not surprised by how good it was.
Mhm.
But like still loved it.
yeah,
I'm just like, oh yeah, well, yeah. And then
of course,
yeah.
yeah,
Of
I
course.
thought-
Yeah, I've told the story how I almost met him last summer. Almost met Josh Freese.
yeah,
Uh,
that was on episode 9 with
oh,
Ryan
good-
Gallant. Check that
good
out.
recall. Good
Bam.
recall. Yeah, anyway. That I'll never meet him now.
Well, no, I mean, you guys probably are going to be on a festival stage
Maybe.
with them as a headliner or something at some point. I would think.
It's possible. It's possible.
I mean, you played with the guys from Weezer,
That's true. That's
You
true.
know?
That's true.
and amongst other big name
No, for sure.
bands like Judas Priest.
Oh man, I mean, yeah. You know what? You're not wrong. It could happen. Could
It
happen.
could happen.
Could happen.
Um,
But okay. But I just want to say sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but what made me even more convinced that it was going to be Josh Freese
Mhm.
was a little bit of detective work on my kind of like lazy man detective work on my part
Mhm.
by just observing a couple of Instagram profiles that I follow.
Yeah.
So I saw this post from Brandon Pertzborn, who was saying it was like a post introducing Grayson Nekrutman as the new drummer in Suicidal Tendencies, because Brandon was playing with Suicidal Tendencies, and he said, "I'm going to play with the Offspring." And this, and of course Grayson is
Mhm.
quite famous as like a kind of Buddy. He came on the scene as like a Buddy Rich style kind of drummer, like jazz fast as all get out drummer. And I've seen some videos of him playing Suicidal Tendencies, and he's killing it. It's awesome. It's so awesome to see. And
Mhm.
I think we played with them before as well. And so I hope I get to meet him someday. But anyway, so then I thoughts to myself, hey, last time I saw Josh Freese, he was playing for the Offspring. So
Mhm.
why the change? And so anyway, I put my math skills to
Yeah,
use and
because you sent me a
deduced.
message about that before some of the rock and roll insider magazine things were posting their stuff. So you had like you were ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
ahead of the
curve or
curve.
curb? I never remember. Anyway,
I gotta say,
irrelevant.
it's
Yeah,
probably curve.
probably right. You want to be ahead of the curve. Who cares about the curb?
You don't want to go up over the curb, but
If we want to get Pacific about it, like
yeah, ahead of the curve, ahead of the curb.
yeah. Um, but yeah, like you watching it, not surprised, but still very impressed with how big they sounded. I mean, they always sound like big, but just the little add-ons that Josh was bringing to the table to for at least what they're going to be doing live, like the
Mhm.
double kicks, like man, like it's going to be on a whole other level. And it's not to diss Taylor because rest in peace. He was the guy. And
Of course.
everybody ever since he passed, we're wondering, are they going to continue? How can they continue without Taylor? And I have to say, the whole Foo Fighters camp handled this whole thing from when it happened during the break after the Taylor tribute concerts into announcing that they're going to tour, that they have a new album. They've been very quiet, just making those brief announcements like, we're playing at this festival, or we have an
Mhm.
album, here's a new song, like being very hush hush about who's playing on the tracks, who's going to be touring. And I thought that the way that they introduced Josh, um, if for anyone that watched it, like the little teases of,
Yeah.
Chad Smith, Tommy Lee, and Danny showing up, and each of them with their own little Easter eggs as to who the guy
Yeah.
was about to be announced, like Tommy's Vandal T-shirt, and Danny showing up with the poodles. Like anyone that knows who Josh Freese is knows,
PF
like
Chang's.
PF Chang, like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole, like I thought it was just so well done. Um, and then of
Yeah.
course the playing spoke for itself, but
Yeah.
just the way they did that and to introduce him to people that don't know who he is, because I
Yeah.
mean, us drummers, we've known who he is forever.
Yeah.
Um, but for the casual viewer, for the fans of the band that don't know who he is,
Mhm.
they're in for a real treat with having him in the lineup.
First of all, yeah, I'll just agree with you that um it was classy the way they handled it, of course, because what a total tragedy, and how hard that must be for all of them. And
Mm-hmm.
I think of it can't still, this stuff can't be easy on you know anyone close to Taylor or Taylor's family, like watching this new drummer come in, and so
Mm-hmm.
that sucks. But um, as far as like having a guy that can step into that, and like personality wise too, like you got to have a big
Yeah.
personality and a big, like, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like a big enough ego that like you can handle
Mm-hmm.
um strong enough ego, I don't know how you say that, but like to be able to hang with them, and the level of you know uh
The
what's the
production of
word,
it.
yeah, but the just like this, not the standard, but the not the stakes either, but just like the expectations is the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, and I agree, they found like it was the obvious choice in
Yeah.
my
I
opinion.
think so. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I can say who I thought it might have been. He was one of the ones in the rumor mill of the running, that people were talking about, and that's Adam Willard. Because he didn't have a whole lot of things going on, but then he had a motorcycle accident, so I don't know if that was part of the whole thing. He didn't know if he'd be ready in time, or if he just wasn't part of the conversation at all, and it's just people seeing the relationship that he had with Dave and Taylor, because Adam goes way back with them as well. And I think he would have he has the chops to play the parts. But again, it comes down to more than just being able to play the parts, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Josh Freese.
Yeah, but John, yeah, I mean, he's
Come on,
I'm
come
happy.
on.
I'm happy it's John because yeah, a whole
right,
bunch of
well-
people are going to get to know who he is.
Yeah,
So we could keep going on about this for like
Yeah.
hours, but we won't.
because
Yeah, we have other things we want to talk about.
like other drummers who've stepped into the fray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Hold on. Time out.
okay. All right.
Time out. Two things. One, we haven't caught up since you got back from tour. So one, how was the tour?
Give me all the goss.
Give me all the hot goss. Because yeah, you went over to Spain and all that, and
Yeah.
but also it's on the verge of being released. It'll be out
Yeah.
by the time this is out, and you've got a new song called Good Times that's coming out
Good time
in a day or two from when we're recording this, so it'll be out for like a week or so by now. So I can't say I've heard it yet, but I will have heard it by now.
Right. Well, I've heard it, and it's good. It's a catchy little number.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're really excited to put it out. Really excited to put it out. We put out a song called "Guess Who's Back" a little while ago, and kind of as a teaser track to the album, and just letting everybody know that we have more music coming out. And this is the first like proper single that we're putting out, so we're very excited. Yeah, check it out. Good
That was
time.
some good English.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
time.
you.
Good time by the band Danko Jones. Check it out. Right. How's that? I bet you anyone that's listening from England right now is
turned it off.
Loving what I'm doing. Loving what I'm doing.
Yeah. So yeah. Anything?
Thank you for the plug.
Crazy, unusual. Oh, anytime. Anything hot to report from tour?
Well, I'll tell you. Speaking of hot, it wasn't hot there. It was the week before we got there. I was looking at the weather app, and it was saying 30 degrees. But when we got there, it was like 20 degrees at best. So it was like still fine, but like not the get away from winter that I was hoping. Even though it's spring here, but it hasn't really turned. We haven't had a day today. Maybe like we've like just got to 20 degrees, but like that's like the hottest day we've had here. And I don't know. I'm ready for something a little hotter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're over on the island. It was like 28 degrees.
What?
A few days ago. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it lasted all of a day, and it's back down to like,
still
18. It's kind of overcast and wet.
Oh, we're living in the zone of 16, 13 degrees, all these bunch of bullshit.
It's
but
not
anyway,
tourist season yet. It'll
warm up. We'll have a good week and a half of hot weather here this summer as usual. 2 weeks tops. Yeah. But yeah, the tour was great. The shows were really fun. Just a short run, but it was great. Great to play the new song. Like not good time, but great to play Guess Who's Back.
Well, how was the reception to that song?
Great.
Live. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah, really good. I mean, it's just a fun tune.
Yeah. Did you open with it? Where was that in your set list? Do you open with it?
We opened.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's a good show.
Anyone who hasn't heard it, just go listen to it and you'll know why it's a good opener.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good, man. Good, man. It was good. Great to be back, and we head out soon again. So by the time this is out, we'll probably be real close to playing again. And the first festival of the summer is Grass Pop. It's in Belgium, and it's a big old festival, Grass Pop Metal Meeting. So really excited to get back to that one because it's one of my favorite festivals, for sure.
Is that the one with the pink hats?
No, I think that's Pink Pop.
Pink Pop, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is
a lot of pop.
It's a lot of pop up there. No, this is Grass Pop.
So it's green hats.
It's green hats. Yeah, I think that unless I'm wrong, I think that's the video for the Twisting Knife, which is one of our songs. I think that's from the Grass Pop Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
the
think that's
album
from
Fire Music. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's from, so you can see what that, if anyone is curious, what that festival's like. Is a really cool festival, really
Mhm.
huge. Yeah. But
What's
anyway,
that? Just before we get into our first drummer picks, which I still don't know who your picks are, so I'm going to pivot
woo-hoo.
a lot. So so what was that? There was a festival that you guys played at, where it's like in a theme park or something.
Mm,
There's like a
in a
great big,
theme,
it's like a roller coaster, and there's like a whole bunch of rides and stuff around it.
in a theme
Um,
park.
yeah, I remember seeing a video, like it was an interview with the three of you
Oh,
on a couch, and there's like a whole bunch of amusement park
Grunalund.
stuff.
Grunalund.
Is that where that is?
Yeah, that's like a really famous historic spot to play in Stockholm, Sweden.
Sweden. Okay.
Yeah. So we did like a exclusive like live album for Spotify at that place. But like you go back there and like uh everybody's played there. Like the Beatles, Little Richard,
Yeah.
like everybody. Um anybody who's anybody's
Anybody.
played there. It's really cool. It is like a really cool place. And you're right, it's in a theme park. It took me a minute
Yeah.
to
Okay.
remember,
That's
but
what I thought. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right. Drummer picks. So you go first because I
All
have
right.
no idea.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna surprise everybody here by not going with a rock pick for my first pick. Bonus one, I did put it because I knew it'd grind your gears. It's not one of my three, but I did say John Theodore replacing Joe Castillo, who definitely changed the sound.
Definitely change the sound.
I get that it's not like it's not as raw a sound, but it's more like of a precise, and the way the music that they make now,
Mhm.
they might not have made before.
It totally fits.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing.
And with anything Queens, there's an evolution to the sound. So it makes perfect sense.
And
But
I'm pretty sure this is not who you were gonna you didn't have John Theodore in your list at all, but
I did not know.
with yeah, anyway, what was the I was gonna say the band he played in, I just blanked as soon as I was about to say it. But
For
what was
John?
the band he played in for like ever, like the mathy
Mars
band?
Volta.
Yeah, Mars
Yeah.
Volta. That's a band that's had a few drummers as well.
Yes.
That
Yeah. Dave
yeah,
Illich and Thomas Pridgeon. They're all monsters.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
And then John had a side project with Zach De La Roca.
Hmm.
Can't remember the name of it now. Something Lion.
So yeah, us drummers, we're expendable, obviously. We get replaced more than anybody, it seems. It's like us and like the auxiliary musician are like the two
Yeah.
most interchangeable people. But anyway, uh, Jeff Ballard, jazz drumming great,
Mhm.
replaced Jorge Rossi in Brad Meldau trio. And I remember that being a big thing for me because that was they were like, when I was jazzing hard, they were like one of the great trios that was like active and modern and out there. And Brad Meldau is play with Matt Chamberlain, like he's had like Matt on something of his, and like he's like, yeah, he's an incredible pianist.
Mhm.
Anyway, Jeff Ballard, Jorge Rossi was like a real wizard with brushes. I mean, with sticks too, but he could play so quietly and just so like subtly, like you just, man, it was like sneaky good, just like sneaky good.
Mhm.
You just, yeah, I mean, so subtle and amazing. And like went and saw them play in Montreal once, and literally brought me to tears just by listening to the way he played brushes. I don't know how that's possible, but it happened. And then Jeff Ballard, so I remember that was like, whoa, shake up. Jeff Ballard's joining the Brad Meldau trio, and totally different drummer, but also totally awesome drummer. So if anybody out there is curious about that, go check out the Brad Meldau trio. Searched and told you which album was the first one, but I'm gonna say it's mid 2000s when
I can
this
just
changed.
imagine the Reddit board, the message boards just blowing up when that happened.
Yeah.
just everybody freaking out.
Well, it was was a long time that Jorge Rossi was playing with that group, and yeah, it was just the one member change. Larry Grenadier stayed on the bass, and yeah, so just the one switch up. But I mean, that goes to show, I think, that we've talked about this before, but like, and there's that famous like Buddy Rich clip, like you're only as good as your drummer or whatever, something paraphrasing, but like it's not only are you only as good, but like, I mean, it's such an instrument that really changes the sound, maybe more than any other, maybe except for the singer.
Yeah, I suppose a singer, but
I guess anybody could really, but like drummers, it's tough to, on many levels, change the sound. Anyway,
changes the sound, changes the feel, changes the live show.
Yeah,
there's a lot. They say, like you said, only as good as your drummer, but there's a reason why they call it, the driver's seat. Like you really do control a lot of what's happening just because you're center of the stage usually, and like you've got line of sight to all the members in the band, so you're reading things from one side to the other, and you're kind of dictating tempos. You're dictating song to song usually, how quick the turnover is. And if you decide you don't want to break in between songs, like you can totally outro from one and go right into the intro of another that the band has to keep up with, so there's no gap in between songs. There's a lot that we do, and a lot of times it goes unnoticed. I say
until
no
now.
More.
Until now. We start songs when we want.
That's right. Was that quote from oh God, why am I blanking on his name? I'm going to lose my drummer cred. Rolling Stones, Charlie Watts. There, I got it back.
Oh yeah,
that was close. That was close.
You're almost kicked out of the club.
I was almost kicked out. But the tempo is whatever I say it is.
Yeah. That's the good story I got to tell of. I'm again paraphrasing this, but and so many people have heard this, but of Mick Jagger going up to Charlie Watts' room, and this is like sometime when before, I think Mick was probably as healthy. Mick's one of the healthiest frontmen out there, I think.
Well, he's still going.
I still like, it's amazing. But I guess it's just like, I don't know. I can't remember the backstory, but basically went up to Charlie's hotel room, I think, and like knocked and like demanded that his drummer come out. Charlie comes, like makes him wait, gets dressed up, like back into his suit or whatever, always a man of class, and comes out. And I don't know if he punched him or what it was or something, but like, or at least just said like I'm not your drummer, you're my singer, or something like those lines. It was like perfect. Only Charlie Watts. He's such a class,
Only Charlie could get away with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first pick. Man, I got so many. Okay, I'm gonna go with this guy because it's kind of newish, and he replaced a guy that replaced a guy that replaced a guy. So he's like the fourth major drummer in the band. And that is Jamie Miller from Bad Religion. He replaced Brooks Wackerman, of all people, because when Brooks left, and who also replaced the Rev, rest his soul, in Avenged Sevenfold. So when he left Bad Religion to go play in Avenged Sevenfold and become the new guy there, Bad Religion recruited Jamie Miller for the album, well, pre-album, and then since recorded Age of Unreason, which is our latest release, which is a phenomenal album. So he had to come into a band and not only replicate one guy's style, but like three other styles over the course of Bad Religion's legendary 30 plus years of being, the benchmark for punk rock. So even the members themselves have come out and said that Jamie is better than they are at their own instruments, let alone being the amazing drummer and singer, backup vocals. So he also plays guitar and vocals in another band that he kind of bounces from that to drumming in a band called You'll Know Us by the Trail of Dead, which is another great band. So yeah, Jamie Miller is just an unreal drummer.
Nice.
And what he's done to be able to pay homage to the drummers before him, and still do what he does and make it look so effortless. Like if you ever watch him play live, there's some footage live where they did the Decade series. You can find some of the videos on YouTube. They're playing it. I think it's the Roxy or something like that. Anyway, it's like a whole web thing during COVID. So you just see how fluid he is, while grabbing the mic to swing it around while still playing punk beats at breakneck speeds and sing backup vocals pitch perfect, and then it's just anyway. He's fun to watch.
Nice.
But he's one of my favorite drummers now, currently, that I'm kind of keep going back to the well to watch and kind of dissect and figure out how the fuck is he doing that. It's Jamie Miller. So yeah, check him out. He's badass.
Sweet. Will do.
I think I did that in one breath.
I was surprised. I couldn't believe what was happening. Let's talk about you, man. I saw you posted a thing, gig dogging. You gig dogging recently?
What are you talking about?
Gigging?
Oh, yeah. We've
How's
had
it
a few shows. Pretty good. We had a couple shows. Would have been last weekend. We opened up for Moncton band, the Motor League, who this coming weekend they're opening for Alert the Medic. Did I say that right? Yeah,
I think you did.
Down in Halifax. It was not a big venue, but ticket sales were good. It was pretty close to full capacity, and it was a local thing, so it's a new venue that's trying to bring local live full bands in the area, that play original music, because there's a lot of cover bands that play at this bar or that bar and that kind of thing, but they're trying to focus on original bands.
Nice.
So yeah, we warmed up the crowd. We didn't play at our full volume. Like I think we were probably at about, I was holding back to about 70% of full attack mode, because they had to mix around the cymbal volume. So I didn't want to go crazy. I kind of mixed myself down just so that they could have a decent sound. And then as the night progressed and people got used to the volume, Motor League kind of got their full volume on. They jacked it up. Yeah. So
nice.
It was a great night. Everybody had a good time.
Nice.
Yeah. We'll probably play with them again soon, maybe, hopefully. Probably in a larger city.
Nice.
We'll see what they say.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah. And then we got a punk festival coming up at the end of June that we're going to gear up for, and then we're going to kind of lay low and finish getting songs ready for the next album.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if we go back to the replacing people, or just coming into bands that, I know we've talked about how, you were the new guy in Dango. So you had to, not only learn all the previous material, I'm sure they already had some songs that were in the works that you kind of got to be a part of in the songwriting, managing the new relationships with new band members, respecting what came before while bringing your own thing. So we've kind of talked a bit about that before, but being in the shoes that Josh would now be in with the Foo Fighters, coming into an established band, what were some of the things that you kind of came into not knowing necessarily, but just sort of preparing yourself before getting into the room? Like how would somebody prepare to do that kind of thing?
Right. Well, yeah, acknowledging that again, like I said, like I think the expectations would just be so high, so much higher for like Josh, and obviously they just have way more people would be chiming in, interested in that than me. But that being said, like I do know, it's not like it comes with its challenges, and I think you nailed most of them, because there'll be people who liked the previous drummer, or in my case, there was a few drummers, that like people would have had favorites and stuff. And the one before me was who you mentioned, Adam Willard, who's, kind of a name. And So like, there'd be people that would be fans, just because of his name, like, let
Mhm.
alone his playing or whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, so that was, yeah. So it was like, it was intimidating for me. That's why I think like when I say like Josh being able to go in and, really just own it. Like, I think that's one thing you could see from those videos. That was like super, aside from his amazing drumming, but like, he seemed very comfortable and like, kind of like, an equal in there, you know what I mean? Or just like, yeah, like,
Like he's got nothing
he,
to prove at this
he's
point.
got, yeah, exactly. And it's like, um, but it was cool seeing too, there's that like well shared drum fill at the end of the song there or whatever. And they all seem
The
impressed at
monkey
the end.
wrench. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's like, I can empathize with that too when you're like, all right, here's a moment where I can like
Hmm.
really like solidify my spot in it. And like I mean, that was so well shared. That's like, whether it's intentional or not, that's going to be like a thing that people will be like, oh, okay, all right,
Hmm.
he's
Yeah.
cool, he's in,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
especially like like you say, the average listener or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if I ever had a moment like that. I know that Danko, I had one jam kind of like audition with him, and again, I wasn't coming from like hard rock, so like, I mean, that's another thing. Like with I keep bringing it back to Josh, but that's just because kind of what
It's kind of it. Yeah.
prompted
It's
this episode.
yeah.
But like, like even just the way he plays, it's like very animated and like big movements, and that's, like, you can get a real loud and sound without big gestures. And I'm like, for anyone just listening, I'm making big gestures right now. But that's one thing he has. One thing I did not have when I joined, like I was like coming from mostly like, I played in one hard rock band, but like mostly, I've been playing like alt country or what cover shit. Like it was
Yeah.
like playing loud and stuff, but it's not the same kind of thing where you're like, so anyway, one of the notes I got in one of my auditions was like, I don't know if you're hitting hard enough. And I thought I was hitting plenty hard, but I
Yeah.
think what it was like probably more about that stage thing. And I guess if the guy before you was Adam Willard, it, like, if you're not hitting as hard as him, that's
Yeah.
another thing. So anyway, I busted the bottom out of a snare drum in the neck. Like I was like, okay, basically give me another shot. And in that, like, we had to stop because like, oh, I busted the bottom head, like it just blew up the bottom head. So I felt like, I don't think that really impressed anybody, but like I was like, yeah, I fucking it hard now. Like, you guys can suck it. But anyway, yeah, you got to know what to prepare. You want to know, like, depends on the band, like, but I think you definitely want to know inside and out every song that they send to you to learn, and
Yes.
ideally you want to learn a bunch more too. Like I was going through like every album and playing. I didn't learn every single Danko song ever, but like when I was training up for the band, one, I did feel like I was training up, and two, I felt like, I bet you, Josh did as well. Like I bet you there was like physical and drum practice, like training, air
Oh
quotes,
yeah.
like going
For
on
sure.
for that. Like,
For sure.
yeah, he looked like in really good shape for it, and he's, even someone like him, I'm sure, was like excited to like bring it up another level for
Hmm.
this and really kill it. And so like the same, like I was spent like many hours a day in a practice room, like kind of teaching myself how to be a hard rock drummer. So like, yeah, like as soon as the rehearsal space opened until it closed, pretty much I was going in there.
Yeah.
Until like the kind of cranky guy that ran it like actually started to like me by the end. He's like, "You're working hard, eh?" Um, so that
Yeah.
was like,
Well.
that was nice. But anyway, like, uh, you want to know all your songs. You definitely, then there's like, you kind of want to, if you can, do any like behind the scenes research on what the guys are like. I had no idea what they like, who they were, what they were like, or anything. So kind of just, I think that's like probably one of my skills as a drummer, is like being able to have like let that go and kind of like, I don't know, been in like a bad mood or just been a dick or something. Like I've probably lost gigs for that reason too. But like I think when um yeah, just being cool and being open and being like, you know what, this is not my, I'm joining this crew, but it's not my band. I like, there's so much history before me.
Yeah.
and got to respect that. And you know, in this case, like I totally did. Like, so probably took me a little while to like feel like I was bringing my own thing. Probably by the time we recorded Fire Music, I was. That's when I started to feel like, okay, like part of it, because then I was like, you know, drum parts were being written that would not have been written if I was not the drummer, and songs as a result, like even songs were not being written that would have been like without me as the drummer.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like a bunch of like song "Watch You Slide" for sure. That came out of like I've been going to this like uh bootlegger jam in Rustico, PEI, and actually one of my dear friends just passed away. He was one of the guys that was there. So Lenny, thinking of you, buddy, was one of the older crew that were like these older guys that were like there playing like and like I learned to like play on a practice pad, kind of like the train beat. That's like where I learned it, and then brought that to Danko. So I tell that story out of honoring Lenny, and also just that's when it started to feel like my own thing. So I think that there's probably a bit of a probationary period as well. I would say that, like, for
Oh,
me
yeah.
at least, I didn't, and I would think most drummers would feel the same. You don't just walk in and it's like, I think when you do that, you really, I don't know, unless you're like the coolest person in the world and also the best drummer, like it's tough to walk in there like you own the spot, because this is someone else's like
Yeah.
project for years and you're just
Yeah.
there. So
For sure. 100%.
anyway.
Oh, excuse me. I had kind of, I want to say the reverse when I joined the Terry Whalen band, because I was coming from a punk rock, loud, fast, aggressive music, and then I get asked to join I guess at the time it was the four piece, as a touring drummer for the Terry Whalen band, which is a blues, four piece, 12 bar, doing all the shuffles, with, I mean, it's more of like a rock and blues, you
Yep.
know. So it's not like traditional, but it's still got a lot of the elements of traditional blues. It's just, played with louder guitars, or, more electric or whatever. So that was a huge learning curve for me to like step back. I had to like tone it down. Like, instead of telling me to play louder, it was a lot of, wow, you're hitting pretty hard there, bud.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to bring that back. And really the style of music, because of, there's a lot more finesse to it. There's a lot of, those blues shuffles where it's all ghost notes, where you're playing 16th ghost notes the whole way through, like the Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, like, you know. So yeah, it was the reverse effect, to learn how to tone it down. Luckily they were very open, and I'm still really good friends with all of them. After I left, because we just did two festivals. So I did two festival circuits with them. Playing live. I didn't get to play on any records. They just put out a record, so I had to learn, all their previous stuff. And the
Yeah.
drummer that was there before, Colby Jardine, he's a killer drummer. He did a lot of really cool stuff on the album that was a little more prog rocky, if you will. Like, he had some really interesting drum fills that were not necessarily blues, and they were kind of like off time they were really cool. But then, the stuff before that album, it was like pretty much traditional blues. So there was
Right.
some room to kind of play around in between the two to kind of marry them together. And I think I kind of did that. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting couple of summers of touring with them. So
Nice. Yes.
yeah, but it
It's
was a good
fun.
time. Yeah.
That's cool. It reminds, I did that with the band I played with before Danko, called Flash Lightning.
Mhm.
And same, like they recorded the album. My first show was like the record release. I guess my second show. We played like one festival, and the next night it was the record release. And that was weird too, because yeah, I don't know, you're playing like, I don't know. You're coming from some band that's like spent years getting to a spot
Mhm.
and making a chemistry, and then like the chemistry was like displayed on this record, and then it's like, and here's a totally new guy playing this like this song for the 10th time as opposed to like the
for the 10th
100th time.
He listened
know?
to the album a couple times before coming on stage, so it's a little fresh.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
Yeah,
what it was. But anyway,
yeah,
should we move on to a second pick?
yeah. Again, I have no idea who your picks are.
Well, I got a couple picks here, so you just
Yeah.
say your picks. I'm sure we'll be good. And if not, there's always some like very famous people that I could draw. Like I did a couple like, not top shelf picks but I always can go to those top shelf picks if you steal my picks.
All right. Well, I can't always pick Joey Castillo, so I had to like come up with some other guy.
Ah, that's funny. Yeah. Joe Castillo has like 5 mentions in this show. John Theodore replaces Joe Castillo. Joe Castillo replaces Dave Grohl.
Yeah. All right. So being more of a punk background, I'm gonna go with one of the obvious choices. So much so people don't even realize he wasn't the original drummer. Because the current tour that they've just started, they're saying it's the original lineup, and it's not even the original lineup because he wasn't the original drummer.
Ooh, that hurts, man.
Oh, right. That hurts. That's gotta hurt, Mr. Scott Rayner. So Travis Barker is my pick. He came in after how many? They did Cheshire Cat, Dude Ranch. They had a couple of releases before Travis joined them on Enema of the State, but that's when they blew up. So that's kind of what people remember. But yeah, so he became the guy.
But before that, they had down and
right. Yeah, from Dude Ranch.
Dude Ranch.
Yeah, right. I guess this is Growing Up. That's it. Yeah, right. Which has Scott in the video. They had a couple of videos. Actually, Dude Ranch is probably one of their better albums.
That's when I got on and off the train.
But a big Blink guy. Eh?
I wasn't, but although I like Adam's song, I like that song.
Yeah, but what Travis brought, and he continues to bring to any project that he's a part of, is a total. I mean, just the drum patterns and parts that he comes up with are totally unique to him. Like he clearly has his own voice behind the drum kit. So yeah, I mean, he wasn't the original guy, but he's definitely the most known. He's one of the most known drummers in the world. I mean, since then he's played with the Transplants, with Goldfinger. He's kind of, the in-demand session drummer. He's played on so many different albums. I'm not even going to try to mention them because I'll miss like 90% of them. Yeah. But he's just a fantastic player. Apparently he's a good guy. I read his book. He doesn't seem like a total dick.
Seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah. No, he really does seem like a really genuine, nice person.
He is. Yeah.
And that's to your point from earlier, when you're joining in a project, you kind of have to be not a dick to get the call up, because when he joined, Scott couldn't tour anymore. He had to go home, and he didn't want to do it anymore or whatever. And Travis was on tour already with the Aquabats, and they're just like, "Hey, you want to play our set in like 30 minutes?" And he just goes up and kills it, So yeah. Anyway, Travis Barker is my second pick.
Good pick. Good pick. All right, my pick. Someone, a bud of mine.
Hey, bud.
Now, what's going on there, bud? This is not. He is on record, a record of the band, but not after.
I already know who it is.
Yeah, but not like he didn't join and then record. He recorded, went away for a bit, then joined back. Of course, I'm talking about Pat the Axe Stewart, playing with Bryan Adams. And so if you listen to previous episodes, I've talked about going to see that concert, how rad it was. He's rocking. It's so good.
Mm-hmm. He hits really hard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. He does. And but it's groovy. It's like everything just it's rock. It's like what a band. And of course, he's replacing Mickey Curry, who played Brian for many years. And I gotta say, also love Mickey Curry's playing. Like some of those drum grooves,
Oh
I
man.
find are like some of the toughest to pull off. Like when I go and like try to any like band that I've been in, it's like try to cover one of those songs that Mickey Curry's playing on. It's like sorry guys, like it sounds like dog shit compared to him. I don't know, like speak of ghost notes and just
Mhm.
like I don't know, the groove is just like next level. But that being said, it was awesome to see Pat playing with Brian, and I mean that totally changes the sound. It's now like more like just rock, like
It's more
raw,
rocking. Yeah, more
more
raw.
raw rocking.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like powerful. It's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. When I saw he was back, I was just it literally felt like coming home.
yeah,
Like it
yeah.
had that feel. Like I know I have nothing to do with the band. I've but it felt like I was coming home. Like it was weird.
coming home, coming home to your Brian Adams mind
Right?
home,
Yeah, right.
mind music home. Nice. And
Yeah,
fellow Los Cabos Drumsticks
yeah,
artist. Yeah,
absolutely. It's
there we
rocking
go.
it, and playing with the odds and playing on all those different projects over the years. People may
Yeah,
not know this, but he plays on the theme song for Corner Gas.
I did not.
He does.
Speaking of which, I
What?
didn't think of this. I didn't think of this until right now. Never seen Corner Gas, but that's neither here nor there. That's not what I was going to
What?
talk about. What I was going to say is that I replaced Pat in a band before.
Get out.
The Dustin Bentall outfit. I joined Dustin years back. Um, shout out to Dust. Don't think he's listening, but if anyone wants to let him know,
I'll
hope you're
send
doing
him the
well.
soundbite.
Yeah, great. Um, yeah, and Pat was playing with them, and yeah, recorded the last record with him, and then I recorded the next record with him.
Cool.
And we even changed our names, but it was like pretty much the exact same band.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so that's how I got to know Pat, was like doing that, and I think yeah, it was so there you
So
go. I
was
didn't
he already like gone and out, or was he kind of sticking around and like kind of helping you learn and kind of
No,
get into the band?
he was kind of, I think he was busy with something because they were doing a tour across Canada with Blue Rodeo. And so that was my first show with that was like the least prepared I've ever been for the biggest show of my life to that point was like, and
That's
so I
usually
think
how
it
it
was like,
goes.
so that was like, I think we met them through like friends, but like it was through like the Dwayne Gretzky crew. And so like Dustin had seen me play with them, and anyway, I don't know what point this happened, but like they were going across the country and they were playing with, like they had like all these different drummers playing with them because they didn't, I don't know, like Pat wasn't able to, I don't know the story, but like Pat would have played probably some of this tour, but they also had like Josh Trager from Sam Roberts was
Mhm.
playing, some other drummers that were in the mix that were playing. And then the very last show, I think in Belleville, Ontario, uh, I played with them. And that was like very nerve wracking. But yeah, it was like, that was literally like, I joked that I play the Flashlight in the songs 10 times. I'd jam with the band like not that many more times, but at least I'd jam with the band. This was like in an apartment, no drums, just like basically like playing brushes on a book and like going through the songs. Like, okay, here's the songs. But they played like they'd had so many drummers. Now I could see like how you just be like, gosh, like I don't want to teach another drummer these songs. Like I'm over it. Like, but anyway, so but we went up and played, and it was like in some like theater, and Blue Rodeo was there, and they were all very nice and gracious. We're like, that was really good. I think that was and they all, said like,
Yeah.
I think you're the guy. And whether that, they're probably just like saying that to every drummer that came through. But anyway,
They had a
they kept,
script
yeah,
written out.
a script. Yeah. Ah, it was really good. You're the guy. You must be the guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Okay. Oh,
anyway,
next. Okay.
yeah. No, I did I played with Dustin for years after that. And
Yeah.
but to bring back Pat in the mix, there was a song on the record that I recorded that was Pat's they had jammed. I don't know if it was before or after, but whatever, for whatever reason, they jammed with Pat. And So that drum beat I'm playing on that, I think it's the song "You Are an Island," and I think that's, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's the song. So that it's a really like Tom heavy song. It's like a real drum part, and I
Mhm.
remember that actually being, it was like tough for me to learn because it's kind of like it winds around.
Okay.
But anyway, you are an. I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, that's the name of the album, and that's the name of the song. You Are an Island, and that's a Pat Stewart, me doing my Pat Stewart impression. This sounds nothing like Pat Stewart when I do it, but it was his part. So
Yeah, that's
that's,
awesome.
there you go. I
That's
didn't even
cool,
know
man.
that's bonus material for this episode.
Hmm.
I didn't mean to. I forgot about that.
No, fucking that's good inside
That's
baseball,
that's inside baseball, folks.
right?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's just roll right into our third picks.
Yeah, let's just do
Yeah,
it, man.
let's just do
Let's
it.
do it.
All right. So you go.
Okay. I love both of these drummers. I'll preface it by saying that.
Two drummers.
Well, it's like this. It's the one leaves, one new
Oh,
guy
okay.
comes in.
All right. I thought I was
So
getting a buy one, get one.
nah, a BOGO, not for you. I so I got to say, I had a real soft spot in my heart for the OG drummer here, but the new guy has played and he's got some hits, and he's a great drummer. But so I'm gonna say Steve Ferrone replacing Stan Lynch in probably my favorite band of all time, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Stan Lynch. That's just your classic. Now Stan wouldn't have even been the original drummer. He would have replaced, like, well, I guess he would have been in the Heartbreakers, but like there
Mhm.
would have been another drummer that played with Tom before
Prior,
they
yeah,
went
yeah.
to LA and stuff. But Stan was basically from day one of the Heartbreakers anyway. And yeah, he would have been through all the ups and downs. If you've ever watched the Tom Petty documentary, you see like Jimmy Iovine like giving him a hard time about his drum sound. Like he seemed like a sensitive soul, but like such a iconic sound, such an idiosyncratic drummer. Such like his sound is so a part of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers that I love. It was really I felt like a real band that like matured together. Um, and then he leaves. Anyone seen the documentary will know like the reasons why they kind of think they grew apart over time, which happens.
Mhm.
Enter Steve Ferrone, uh, an amazing drummer, and went on to play with Tom. And definitely another thing, hard to come into a situation like that and be the new kid on the block and have such an iconic idiosyncratic sound that you're trying to replace. And Steve just did his own thing, and you know what? That first like you see like the first that they do like you don't know how it feels.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
wait, is it that? Yeah, no, it's is it that? Yeah,
On
you don't know how it feels, right? The
Wallflower.
first of
Yeah. Yeah.
Wildflowers, and it's like on the dock. It's like, yeah, I came in and play like one take, and that's the take, and you get that, and like that's like classic, like no cymbals on that recording.
Oh
That's like
man.
one of the notable things of it, of the drum groove, and it's just like solid, and I mean, that's a new era. Wildflower is such a beautiful album. Would not have sounded like that with Stan
Yeah.
Lynch. Like they
Start to finish. Yeah.
couldn't have possibly done that with Stan. Something I was thinking about though, just as I was talking about this, Stan Lynch, to put one back, one more check on Stan. Not that I have to give him a check because I love him and I love his drumming. But like, if I had to give another check to counter Steve's one take wonder, it's that Stan, not like in a good spot socially at the time with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. They had to do the story is they have to do their greatest hits album, and they got to put out a brand new song on their greatest hits album, which is hilarious. A
Yeah.
hilarious predicament. Mary Jane's Last Dance is the song. And so for like coming in and not wanting to hang out with anybody, not like, I shouldn't say not giving a shit, but like probably one
Yeah.
last F you, like I'm
Yeah.
the man,
I'm over this. Yeah.
comes in and plays that probably like one take or something,
Yeah.
or like not a long day, and you get that performance. that is like, I mean, all those fills, like that's classic. It's classic rock and
Arguably
roll.
one of Tom's biggest hits.
100%. And like
Yeah.
some of the most iconic drum parts, like like just those fills, like they're
Yeah.
at the end of those courses going back. So that's, that's a pretty, I don't know. That was quite a change. Quite a
That is a
change.
BOGO because they both came in and replaced somebody else and defined the sound for the band.
100%. 100%, man.
I can't top a BOGO.
Who do you got?
Well, I had a couple of different picks because
Yeah, give me two quickies.
well, no, I can't. None of these are quickies. I'm just gonna have to bring out the big gun. And he's been part of the conversation, whether we've mentioned his name or not. He's been part of this whole conversation.
Is his name Joey Castillo? Because he's definitely been part of this conversation.
No, but was replaced.
If he ever hears this podcast and be like, these guys are obsessed with me. This is weird.
I message Joey like every day on Instagram. He never responds.
No, you're getting my messages.
He does respond. No, I'm just kidding. I can't
Actually,
even.
we're gonna surprise. Welcome our surprise guest.
Special guest. We're doing back-to-back episodes. No. Yeah. So I'm gonna bringing up the big gun. He replaced a guy named Chad, recorded an album that literally changed the landscape of rock and roll. And that would be Mr. Dave Grohl. Was not the original drummer in Nirvana, but definitely. And there is, I mean, Kurt's songwriting being what it was, there's definitely a huge difference in sounds from Bleach to Nevermind. And then when they released Incesticide, that was all the B-sides pre Nevermind. So the sound for that album is a lot more like the Bleach sound. But just the clear difference between those two albums and what Nevermind was and what the Nevermind did, as far as, just the pure energy and the crazy drum parts, not extremely difficult to play, but just earworms, And I mean, anyone that's listening to this that is a drummer obviously knows who he is and what he's done, and probably is in their top 3 of drummers of all time.
Yeah.
But then to do Nevermind and then do In Utero, which is another total different sound, going back more into like the more punk rock kind of vibe to it, again with earworms and different drum parts, like Scentless Apprentice. I still can't play that fucking thing and make it sound like that. Like, I can play the part, but it sounds nothing like that. So he definitely influenced me in my playing, through all of his projects. I mean, Queens of the Stone Age, he played on Killing Joke, then Them Crooked Vultures, Tenacious D. There's just so many things. The Juliet and the Licks album, dude, that is a great rock and roll album. 4 on the Floor, if anyone is curious as to which one he played on. Yeah, so Dave Grohl, total sound changer. And it must be hard for anyone, and then we're going to come right back to full circle, for anyone to come into a band with him as the singer, knowing that he can play anything that you can, probably better than you can, and to still sit in that seat and be able to play and have your own identity, which Taylor did. And now Josh is going to try to do his part, which I'm sure he will. But for Taylor to have such a close bond with Dave and the relationship that they formed over the years in Foo Fighters, and to be able to do what he did behind the kit, along with Dave. And I guarantee they had many conversations about, the drum sounds and the drum parts and the feel and all that stuff, it's just it's really unfortunate what happened with Taylor, and, Dave Grohl being Dave Grohl, just carrying rock music on his back, keeping the Foo Fighters going, and making the decision to bring Josh into the fold I think it was a good call.
Absolutely. Great call.
Bam. Yeah. So that was my last drum pick. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of other guys. You know what's funny? And maybe I'll give a little ad. My other guy that I was gonna say, but I used Dave because of the aproposness in the full circleness of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a guy you might have heard of, Neil Peart,
Mm-hmm.
of a little known band called Rush. Was not the original drummer and completely redefined the sound for that band as well.
Yep.
If we want to put him on the honorable mention list of the highest caliber, would be Neil Peart. Yeah, for sure.
And I'm going to add a bonus here.
Yes.
From the movie That Thing You Do, I'm talking about Shades. I can't remember his character's name, but I know he was Shades because he wore the sunglasses, and he was a guy that came in and totally changed the sound of that band. And then Tom Hanks signed them, and he had I just remember Shades and Wolfman. He had Wolfman, who's the other ringer, but Shades had it all, and sped the song up, and they went on to superstardom, and that just goes to show, folks. A drummer can come in and speed the song up and change the world.
Change the world. We know what we're doing back there.
So you can play it faster, you can start it sooner.
Yeah.
All these things you could do back there.
Or not play at all.
Oh yeah, mess up, whatever you want. It's up to you.
Yeah. All right. So we'll tone down the episode here. We'll wind her down. We're getting to the end. So you mentioned that you're going to be hitting the road soon.
Yes.
So you've got some dates coming up. By the time this comes out, you said you'd be close to hitting the road. So you might as well throw some dates at some people as to where they can catch the power trio, Danko Jones, ahead of their upcoming tour.
You want to know? I'll tell you. I'll tell you where we're going to be in 1 second. All right. So like I said, we're going to be at Grass Pop, not Pink Pop, Grass Pop.
Straw hats.
In Dessel, where it's all hay. It's terrible. Bring your Claritin. In Belgium, and it's going to be rocking. Then we're playing. Oh man, it's just festival season. We got let's see here. We got Top Fest in I think Slovakia. We got Match Open Air, Quell Rock Open Air in Switzerland, Match Open Air in Germany. Playing a big Harley Davidson party. I think that's public. Hope so. I just goofed it up. We got Talg. I don't know how to pronounce it. Talg, Talge, Talg, Open Air in Denmark. Bukta in Norway, and John Smith Rock Festival in Finland. I mean, I could go on. I could go on. But anyway, we're going to be in.
But that's going to fill up like what, June and July?
June, July, and August will be. We're not in Canada or North America at all, but we're over in Europe playing a bunch of different festivals. But we're excited to get back out. Like I said, by the time this comes out, we'll have a new single out there that you'll probably hear on all the radio stations called "Good Time."
Yeah, and definitely. It's definitely a radio song.
It's a radio song, and and that's coming off the new album Electric Sounds, which will be coming out later in the year. And who knows? Maybe there'll even be some Canadian dates coming at you soon.
Well, I know of one that was announced in October in Toronto, I believe. Yeah, there was one announced for October.
Was it? All right. Well, the cat's out of the bag.
Well, that's one. I don't know about the rest. Yeah, that's one date.
Yeah. So get your tickets if you want to see. I do a lot less talking, a lot more rocking. I don't know how we're going to end this episode.
On that note, that's it. That's the episode, folks.
All right. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Yeah. Oh, Yeah.
No? Psych.
It's like, not.
Is there something
Uh,
else?
Well, we gotta. Yeah, that's fine. We'll end it there.
No.
don't
Do we got
we-
trivia?
No, we don't need to. I was gonna give them the old handles, but they know where to find